Well, did you want to start off with a couple of things
sure.
here? Why don't you go for it?
Okay. So we have got a lot going on, a lot of good things. Really interested. Troy sent me his animal control report for last year, or for 2003. Just gonna go over some numbers. I didn't realize we've done so much animal control activity. So we had 58 animals that were adopted last year. We took in 123 animals, and then we reunited 44 animals with their owners. And so, yeah, that's some pretty high numbers for a little shelter like we have. So,
Is that a record year, Paul?
I don't know, Pete. I'll ask him to look into it, but I think it was.
This
mean,
is
it
the
was
first time I aggregated numbers like that, so I don't know if he probably can go back and do it.
Yeah,
but
go back a couple. I think this is probably a good. He said it's a challenging year for the number of dogs that came through, and majority of cats are kittens. So it and moved to easier. Yeah, I think it's. I think that's a lot of animals. Um, some other things we've got going on. You're going to see some street construction on Space Park as soon as you pass up the fire station heading toward Methodist. We've got a metal and the concrete now starting to settle a lot. So we're going to look through there, make sure everything's good with our pipe, but we're going to replace that. So we're just trying to get a good plan because we know a lot of people park, down that for Methodist. So we're going to be putting something out on social media on that. Palm trees coming into the city. They were out there yesterday marking the line, staking, and they'll start digging next week. And so we'll have the 10 coming in from the east side, 10 coming in from the west side.
Approximately thereof. It may be a little bit more one way or the other.
Yeah. And so it looks good. We staked out everything. Everything will have irrigation. We are getting price quotes for lighting, if we want to light those up. So we're getting price quotes for that. The contractors will start mobilizing on the boardwalk Monday, if not sooner, maybe this weekend. Also went out for quotes for the Florida Sables that we're missing. We're missing 11 on Upper Bay, and then we're missing another 4.
Those little small medians.
Yeah. Yep. And then the boardwalk, we have the big 20-footers. I think we have 4 we need to replace there, 1 at the park. So and what's good is that we actually, I really stress of having a good warranty. So we're going to have the same warranty as the Palms on Nassau Bay Drive. So 2-year warranty. If they get hit by a car, lightning, disease, freeze, anything, they get replaced. So we're going to.
Yes, ma'am. Can re-up that guarantee if
you
want to.
Yes,
correct.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a storm drain issue. Is this
Oh, yes, ma'am. Oh, yes.
Absolutely is.
All right. I live on Martinique. My daughter lives in Kingsport, and
Yes.
we've met. You were at my daughter's townhouse in
Correct.
October. And
18207, not 20, not 207 is the issue. 209.
Yeah,
Correct.
207 is the
Remember.
209
Yep.
is my daughter's. Last night at dinner time, my daughter's family was eating, and my granddaughter asked her mom, "Did you just mop in the dining room?" And my daughter said no. And Remy said, "Well, why is the floor all wet?" And they looked down, and the vacant townhouse, with the rain that we had, and their courtyard, and this issue was discussed back in October.
Correct.
Must have flooded their house because the water all was coming through the wall. It came into my daughter's garage, into her little TV area, and into her dining room. And it's vacant.
Yeah,
and
correct.
When a tenant lived there, he had been told by the owner to put towels around where the French doors are, where that courtyard is, to not allow the water in. Well, it's vacant, nobody's there, it's flooding. These are my grandbabies. What can be done? Yeah. My daughter just spent tons of money getting her house back because of
Mhm.
smoke ban she had. And then the PEX pipe
Mhm.
has burned and it leaked. It compromised the firewall because the firewall is only gypsum board. It's been a nightmare. But right now, we'll just focus on this drainage
Okay,
issue.
okay.
What can the city do
Perry
to
out there.
help?
Yes, we'll get our code enforcement officer and we'll look into that. I know beside Perry, also, I have my project manager, going by and making sure no one's doing the work. Cause they hadn't, from what I understand, they hadn't pulled a permit yet. So
Yes,
we're
Well,
pulling.
I think, but that's also something of your worry is this place is vacant and they have some legacy issues that need mitigation. And if it's vacant and they're being absentee, you still end up with a problem.
and the
And
city
we've got to address that.
Okay.
The city was great. They pulled the water meter
Yeah.
to stop the leaking. But the electric meter had been pulled.
Yes, ma'am.
It's back on now, and an electrician was over there, and I'm sorry, I don't know the code enforcer's name.
Officer Perry Henderson.
He went, and the wiring is burned upstairs, but there is still a meter on that house.
So two things. I
We'll
know
look at that because
Yeah.
we sent an email and I got a copy of it, from Centerpoint
Yeah.
to remove
To
it.
remove
And,
it.
and we actually put the concerns is that it could, go up. So let me follow up on that actually today, because that's supposed to have been pulled,
Yeah, that's public
that meter. Yeah.
And I thank you because you personally called my daughter and told
Yeah.
her, and you told her if you hear any work, even if
Anything,
if they're using
let us know.
a generator, let us know.
That's my worry is that that's generally the typical MO for kind of like absentee, homeowners that don't always follow the the rule. I'm talking to somebody behind you, and she knows who I'm talking about. Because they bring in generators to try to do the work.
If you go on Craigslist, that townhouse is
Mhm.
on sale right now, and it said they will renovate it.
Yeah.
It makes it sound, it does not.
So the two things I was going to say is one, just what Paul said is I believe the Centerpoint was going to come out and take out that meter. But the second is they confirm that it's in the off position. They can't run, people can't run power through there. But at least that's, I feel better just physically having it out. The second is, no, that wasn't, that it was off. We really need to look to see if we have to take any mitigation.
Okay.
Because if they're getting something from that and they've been warned and they're not doing anything, there has to be something that we can do to help shore up and mitigate in their absence. Put a lien on them
Okay.
if we have to.
No, and thank you, because we're desperate.
Yeah, I know you are. We're doing everything we can, so I appreciate you hanging in there. But here, I mean, they had, this is like third go around, almost as long as 18410. But there's something that we can do because this is preservation of property, public safety for what they have. If we have to mitigate something, we should put a lien on the house.
Okay.
Particularly if they're planning on selling. So
I'll follow up with that.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Had a lot of rain this week. All our pump stations performed at 100%. We didn't have no failures. Monday we had 1.7 inches, Tuesday 1.7, and then Wednesday we had 3.8 inches. We start seeing issues about after 2.5, 3 inches. I didn't get no reports until yesterday evening. Brian Brown emailed me and Miss Horton, and I guess there was some water holding on Davon Lane. So if y'all have anything like that, please reach out to us. Brian sent me some pictures, so we'll look at that line, make sure there's no debris trapped in it. We shouldn't have had any issues, but we're going to look at that. So he's emailed us. Pictures are great. I think he used his Ring camera, and that helps us a ton.
That's a known problem area too. So
Also,
Yep.
that, I guess that totals to about 7 inches for the
Mhm.
leaving in 3 days. At what point do we get the rain to saturate the ground and be a problem of trees going over? And I noticed on Phil's Old Street on Back Bay, somebody lost one of their really nice palm trees. fell over, and I don't know if that was ground set.
Recently or just?
Yeah, I just noticed it 2 days ago when I was driving with my wife. And I don't know if that was because ground saturation or a problem that happened to my neighbor on Nassau Bay Drive is they have a $25,000 palm tree that they lost that just fell down, but we think it was from a year ago, the freeze
Yeah.
whacked it,
Yep.
and it's so
Did the top come off or did the whole thing come down?
the whole thing.
I'm sending you the picture.
Yeah. I've been out of town, so I don't.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
So, and so my question is that at how many inches of ground saturation do we have to worry about losing trees?
You know, in the last 14 years, I haven't seen any, even when we had a lot, even during Harvey, it depends what the trees we see were watered too much and the roots didn't go really further down. So they were really shallow. But actually most of our trees are stable and we don't hardly see that at all. Just a couple.
Which is why it was kind of a surprise on that day, seeing
Correct.
a nice palm tree
Yeah.
go over, and I'm like, well, I'm thinking either it was
Was
the
that
freeze.
the Lee's residence? Had
Let's
it?
see, going in toward, it's on the right-hand side, like 2 houses in, on the right-hand side, if you take the
That
left
would
going
have
into
been
that.
somebody else.
Go take
He's
a
on the
Okay.
look on the way,
All right,
on the way
I will.
over.
Okay.
I will.
Um,
We lost ours on Back Bay, but it was because of the freeze.
Yeah,
Because of the freeze. We had the whole top come down into the pool.
some other things that we're working on. There is actually a water leak on the Clear Lake Water Authority side that comes in, but it's not on our line. So it hasn't affected any of our water operations. We are running on a bypass surface water, no well water. So they're hoping to get that repaired Monday, but with all the rain and everything, we don't see any issues. And if something comes up, we'll push it out really fast on Swift and social media. But we're monitoring that, but it is not affecting the quality or the pressure coming into Nassau Bay. So, and then let me see, we got here. Replacing a lot of lights on the Saturn median. We're staying on top of that, along with the fountain. You've seen the fountain is out. We had the entire underground pipe and replaced, but now water is, excuse me, getting into the electrical system. So we're looking at that. We may have to do some replacement there, but we're hoping to dry out and we'll get that thing back on. We were hoping to get to Founders Park this week to tree trimming, but with the rain, it didn't happen. So hopefully we'll be out there Monday and we'll get that going. And then after that, we continue trimming around the city. We're looking to do that. David Braun Park, with all the high winds, all the tennis courts came off. Tennis court netting, wind nets, we got them all secured back. And park's looking good. Paying extra special attention to it for the weekend. And then with that, one of the biggest things, our biggest challenge is that we were notified that Harris County would no longer be doing our local elections here. So we've probably
It's not ours, it's all the way around.
Yes, all the way around.
Harris County.
So we have really been on that 100% this week. We've met with consultants that can help us. We've met with, we may have to purchase the machines. So we're looking at all that. We're getting quotes. We feel a little bit better from the meeting leaving yesterday afternoon. We're going to be working with some local people, one out of Friendswood and one out of the Woodlands. And so we were really worried about that, but we got a little bit better feeling about it now. We're not so worried about it.
But it's going to be money.
Yes.
More than likely,
Yes.
it's going to be about $20,000 more.
Yes.
So for us to run our own election.
Either that or you have to go out now.
Or some other city we cooperate with, but then it'd be just a cost basis between the two. So, we kind of like having the ability of people voting in, here at City Hall. That seems to has been our standard. But right now with Harris County doing that, we used to do it on our own some years ago, but Harris County, when they offered, saves the city quite a bit when they run it. But it's this is about all of about what, 1 week old.
Yes, we were notified. I think Monday
You know
morning.
what I mean?
What's driving that on their end?
I don't know. I've actually asked a couple of things. I haven't got it. I just got back into town, but I don't like the looks of it. I really don't know, because usually that says there's politics some way, one way, and who knows which way. But I want to find out, because I think it's always a good thing to have them run those.
Are they pulling it from the library over at Freeman also?
I don't know that. I would assume so, but I don't know. My understanding is this is not a Nassau Bay. We're not doing Nassau Bay. I believe they said the Harris County, is not running the, all the ancillary areas, for towns. And I haven't gotten the exact scope and depth, but we will, Barbara, and we'll publish it.
So Phil, who makes that decision with the city, with Harris County? Is it the city council? Is it the mayor? How's that?
I actually think it's part of the Houston hierarchy. It would be, county commissioners and judges. So, but this is fresh paint. This is obviously fresh paint. So we just wanted to make sure people know that we. And I don't even think Count read those. So this came up just literally a little while ago, and we're trying to get our hands around it, and also verify to make sure that it's not something we have to do to get on it, but we've been told it's not that, it's they're just not doing it. So unlike not for May. So that's we're in the, believe it or not, this is the busy time for city staff for the election, because they've got to set up all the different ballots. They got to set up all the different things. We may have a charter review committee, recommendation for referendum. All things like that have to be done by March 1st. So they're all preparing stuff right. It starts right now. This is starts being period, if I remember.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll be sending out a email to council and mayor. Just we're actually was get some email correspondence today early on, so we're trying to put together a nice little packet, an informative packet. And then we are getting ready for the Peninsula cleanup.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, everybody, Peninsula cleanup this February 3rd. So it's a week from this Saturday, and it's the gathering point is at the boat ramp of Highway 270 in Egret Bay, and on the League City side at 8:30. There's also going to be, I believe, people just going right there in the front of the peninsula on the way. We going in, they have a tent there usually, but there will be trash bags, all the different types of things for the peninsula cleanup. And then the moon tree, again, the intent is to plant two more moon trees down in the David Braun Park in recognition of residents who have walked on the moon. So that's going to be, I believe, March 9th. So I believe the intent is to kind of have almost a walk of the astronauts right there, of all astronauts that have either walked on the moon or circled the moon or whatever that word is of Nassau Bay. So it's a little bit of our salute to our heritage, and particularly with the Artemis project kicking off. It's a lot of interest there. So, and I just want to say something with what Paul mentioned is, you're going to see the Majules on the eastern end and the western end of Nassau Road 1. So our whole intent as part of council was we wanted to make sure you're coming into Nassau Bay on either end, and then we have the ones in the middle, which is our central area around the town center. So you really know you're in Nassau Bay, and the intent is, and I want to give a shout out to the Nass Area Management District, because they're the ones who have owned and put in the lights and have updated them recently. We'd like to work in cooperation with them to see about replicating what they did at these other ones, or us giving them a donation in order to do it themselves, so that we have the whole system integrated and in one, one way, because they've done a really good job with updating that system, and you can see how powerful the lights are. They've upgraded the lumens. It's the change of things from
Yeah,
your
we're better
phone
on
and
that.
everything like that. So you'll see that here very shortly.
Yeah.
At least the trees.
Yes.
The lights may be more till the end of the end of the year, but we'll see.
And on the lights, what we're going to do is, through the years, I've heard, maybe putting, welcome to Nassau Bay sign right in the medians or something. So what we're going to do is, during the electrical quote, we'll have them stub out in case we want to do a sign future down the road or that's lit up. So we'll have the electricity already there, ready to tap into if we need to. Yes, ma'am.
I noticed last night when I was out that the lights are all purple. What color code we have going for the lights? For
Yeah.
special
Yes.
reasons, or I didn't know, I thought Mardi Gras.
It may be.
It may be. They sent me, I think it was about 13 different light designs, features, and we went back with them. We'd like to recognize the police week, in blue, fire week, and but it may be.
Well, yeah, you have
Yeah,
the major holidays.
yeah, major
Christmas,
holidays.
New Year's.
Well, we don't know why it's purple now,
So
which is a good.
what it used to be, and I don't know, it may be that they're just going across the whole spectrum, was in between the time periods where there were some celebrity, or some, a holiday celebration or whatever, it followed the lunar track, and they would cycle between dark to light, and with the previous one it went just to blue, and it would, and thinking, no moon versus a full moon, and that's how they tracked it. And the more white it was, the more of a full moon there would be, and the less of white, or the more blue and purple, the more it was no moon. So I don't know if they went all the way to like the ultraviolet or whatever, but that's what it used to do, and I think that's what they're doing.
So it's like we have Valentine's Day coming up, so I'd
Correct.
like to see the lights be red. And I happen to be on the committee, on the Nassau Area
Mhm.
Management District, but I never see any of the themes for the year and when it would change.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something, Paul,
Yeah.
because I know you
Yeah.
control the keypad,
Yeah.
you can do.
Yeah, I can send that to y'all.
Help me if any, but I remember that it's Christmas, New Year's, it's Valentine's Day,
4th of July.
4th of July. It was St. Patty's Day too. It was
Oh, here we go.
Halloween.
It
was,
is Mardi Gras.
So it's Mardi Gras. It's Mardi. So all I know is the system now has way more. I think it's twice the lumens, which is why it's so much brighter out there. So you really see them. And I believe the color spectrum, there weren't as many choices before. Now with 10 years later from when we originally did that,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah, and I'll just name them off.
Yeah,
It's
go
Mardi
ahead.
Gras, Valentine's Day, Texas Independence, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Flag Day, Juneteenth, 4th of July, Labor Day, September 11th, Halloween, Christmas, and Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving.
There you
Well,
go.
That's wonderful. So
Rob.
now if we could just put dates with the
Yeah.
color theme, and maybe a compass rose would be really good, because that's something the community could really be excited about.
Yeah, so the dates for Mardi Gras lights is February 2nd through the 10th. And then we'll go February 11th through the 14th for Valentine's Day. So I'll send this out.
Mardi Gras for all those Louisiana people.
That's exactly
There's a lot
right.
of them.
Yeah.
They're all here.
They didn't go back after Katrina.
They did.
No, they didn't.
One other thing that we're working on is the street ceiling project. That should hopefully, we'll get some numbers and start that hopefully maybe next month. That's about $30,000 in street ceiling. And then we finalized the water map, the 4 miles of water map. We're probably looking to replace the Nass Road 1 line from Saturn to the Hilton, upgrade that line from a 10-inch to a 12. We're looking probably around June, maybe a little bit before that, and then we'll go straight into our water line replacement toward the end of the year. And then at the same time, we're going to be replacing $300,000 of sanitary sewer transmission line. And we're gonna start that right at the fire department, because that was our biggest problem area this year, all the way down. And then we'll do that every year. So it should take us about 3 to 4 years, but we'll have the all new force main. So beside everything else, we're really still concentrating on water, sewer, storm. And then, and if you had noticed, the back of the city hall, we replaced 13 parking lot lights with all LED. It looks like Vegas out there. And then the front, so everything is really coming to play.
I'll mention some that's part. We've done an audit on the security of the facility here, and one of the things that came out, and this is part of it, is just the lighting is atrocious around the area. There's some other weak links that I really don't want to put out in public, but you're going to be seeing a lot of activity just in and around City Hall, because it's one of the areas that needs to be hardened, if I use the right language. We're also, I think, reaching out to a number of the churches. I think you've heard there's been some training just for active shooters with the churches, things like that. It's something we're taking seriously. I think we're a little behind in doing that, but I think with the activities we're catching up. You're going to see more lights even out in the front for that. So we're going to invest there. And I've even told Paul, I consider that kind of emergency type stuff. If we feel like with the activities of being sure we're safe with active shooters, if there's expensive things, that's why we have reserves. That's why they're making sure they do what's necessary. And it even comes up with the things like how we coordinate with the bank here, because that obviously creates an area where people can come in, and just how well we control. And I got to put in the plug, because I was the one who kind of made it visible. Got now the ADA in the front door.
Yeah.
So we, believe it or not, this building was not ADA compliant, and people in wheelchairs. I had a lady actually complain to me, called and said, "Hey, I tried to get in. I cannot get in your building." And we thought we were with the elevator and stuff like that, but the doors, they come out, and so she couldn't get in.
Hey, Phil, tying into that, are we 100% installed with the flock cameras, and have we had any success with flock cameras yet?
I don't know about the success, you can call it, but I do know the phase that we went in, which is I think 95% of it is up. We've asked the chief of the other part that I want to make sure we really do our due diligence, because I believe in the ingenuity and intelligence of crooks. I really do. Is I don't want there to be paths that people can find out that aren't being monitored. And he's going to come back, and I think it won't be much, but I think 95% of it has been installed. And you may comment on.
Yeah, I think. In fact, Chief, I think brought that up at staff meeting. I think they're all installed for us. How many license plates they picked up, and I think a majority of it was wrong license plates that were stolen, and people just put them on cars.
Usually that signals.
Yeah.
There's a reason people do that,
Yeah.
right? No.
So, and then he's also looking to the areas like if a car or one, they may go through like Wendy's and kind of get out through that. So he's looking at all them locations and getting a price for
Correct.
that. And so he's
The yard lights also. People would just
You know,
get their yard
that's a
lights,
Nassau Bay homeowner. I agree with you.
You know, and they fight it to the bitter end.
So I don't know why, because I mean maybe people don't understand that the whole design of this city was the street lighting was by the street lights in your front yard. It is not by the street lights that go there. They're far too far in between, and that the safety of our streets, the safety of our lighting is directly related to people having working street lights in their yard, in their yard. That's how the city was designed, and I wish that people were more diligent in that, because I even seen even after Ike a little bit, And, some people have not put back, streetlights that, in their yard, that were there previously. So we're actually down a few lights.
So Phil, is that something that Perry Henderson can help the HOA with, or because they're
I don't-
separate, they have to be kept separate?
My understanding is, because I'm really trying to see how to coordinate more between the homeowners associations and the city. That one that falls directly there, and we citations or things like that for them. So that's at least what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's what
But
I've
even if
heard.
he didn't do a citation, a conversation, if he stopped at their home,
I'm actually looking to see is there some way we can be a group for them that they pay us or something. I don't care if it's $1.
right? Yeah.
I don't know, but that's not for here and now. But
For years and years, it was like Becky and Barbara, they would drive around on their golf carts and take note of whose light was out. And at the HOA would try with kindness to get it done, and
I
not
think
a lot of success.
you've seen people not walk or run at night
Yeah.
because we have a number of homes. There are street sections that people's lamps are out.
What percentage would you say of is it 5%, 10%?
No, I'm
Barbara, what would you-
15%, 15, 20, 15, 20%.
I'd say probably Becky.
Yeah, probably.
25.
1 out of 5.
The thing is, there's no concrete definition of what you have to have in your yard.
Mhm.
So you go by this house and they've got 4 or 5 brick around around their driveway. There's not a pole
Yeah.
like most houses. So is that okay? Or does it have to, how light does it have
I
to
actually
be?
thought there
Because some
needed
of
to
them
be a
would
pole.
like-
I thought there needed to be a pole.
Yeah,
I personally thought they did.
we did too, but
I got 2.
it's just possible to get people.
That's what I thought. It had to be a pole.
But that's a good question that Becky brings up for clarification, because maybe some of the homeowners, they think they've got some lighting attached to their house. It's helpful, but it's not
It may be part of, there's been a huge amount of turnover of young family. They just may not know. I don't, but it's a good point, because that's really, that's how the city was designed.
That's right, and it makes a world of difference.
Makes a world of difference.
But when I moved in, I got a pamphlet and it said, in the homeowner's pamphlet, exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
And that is in a drawer somewhere.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
And it's very plain.
It
It's
is.
a pole with a light on it.
Yeah, correct.
And it even says it can be electrical.
Or gas.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
And it has to be a certain amount of,
Lumens,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yep.
You know? Thank you for bringing that up. Because, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that, it specifies anything on it.
I wonder if someone can-
I'm sure it is. I think that is something we should do.
Okay.
But I'd also love to.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost said they're not good at compliance.
Okay.
Something there has to be something we can do.
Let's start reaching out to them.
Because otherwise, the other answer to that means we need to put in more, official city street lights, which I don't think are very aesthetically attractive. So,
See a few on Lakeside Lane. It's so dark.
you mentioned that before. I know you were gonna look into that.
Yeah, I did, and actually, me and Centerpoint went around and around probably about five times, and they got with their engineering, and they just said that the transmission or the transformer, something about their property line, but I've got some new contacts now, so I'm gonna bring that back up. I've got some.
Once you get coming off Vanessa Road Lane, you get the stop sign.
Yeah.
From there down, it's so dark. I think there's only 1 or 2 lights that are center point. And that falls on Falls Harbor side. Then you have Meridian, then you have us. So we have several that line. Lakeside Lane, but Fall Harbor side, it is just pitch dark.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, you mentioned Center Point,
Mhm.
and I mean, we have had, Phil, you're out of town, we have had electricity, thunder, lightning, storms, all this rain. Knock on wood, how have we not lost power? I
If
told
we
my boys
complain,
several
we
times.
complain big time. That's a good, I mean, particularly in Val Harbor, you know, the things like that, we have been on them just religiously because we were having outages every week with minor rain, and I think we finally got
Yeah.
through, and they fixed some things, so.
I remember you would sneeze and we lose power for 6 hours. What have they done? I mean, it's great we complained, but what action?
No,
have
they
done?
actually on Bell Harbor, they installed a brand new transformer, a secondary line, wildlife prevention, protection on the light. So, I'm working with
Keep
a
the birds
really
and
good
rats out.
really good, Center Point area representative. I think we got a really good relationship, so.
Thank you,
Yeah,
because I fully expected, I told my family 3 times, get
I'll
ready, power's going out,
You know,
power's going out.
let
and it
me say this is I give kudos to Patricia Lotz. You know, we hear you when people complain, and we can't take action unless we hear you. She started complaining about every week things going out, and as we looked into it and started pushing it, it was, you know, their Center Point was falling down, and then there was other places in the city also. So, you know, usually you're not alone when things are happening, you know, so let us know, and we're gonna do something about it. I commit to that. I mean, we answer our phone. Yeah, but we can't see it. Yeah, we can't see it if we don't know about it. If we know about it, I'm gonna say we're gonna do something about it.
So new transformer, and I think tree trimming helps to
Yes,
lessen
correct.
the
Yeah.
chance of power going out.
And also pest control, you know, he just said pest mitigation. I mean, that's rats and birds holding up in places. So, you know, yeah.
We still have rodent traps. Going back to the old days, we used to be able to come and borrow a rodent trap.
Yes, we have the wildlife traps. You can get them at Public Works.
You
You see
can.
Kathy, and then you just I think it's just a deposit.
I believe they will set something up and they will take it away.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
it won't get up in the attic, but if you get it down, he'll come transport it and get it out. Yeah, we used to go up in the attics, but then I think a couple guys fell through, so we don't want to go up in the attics no more. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Back on the flock cameras, I missed a number. How many are you hoping to put up? What is the goal, total number of cameras?
Well, I believe we already got the original agreement with Flock, and then now Chief Cromie is looking for the other areas that they can squeeze into.
If
And
I
get
remember
a
the
price.
original number, and I don't,
Yeah.
I'll find out specifically, but it started out at, I think there's 19 or 21, something along that line. You know, maybe Chief will chime in.
Yeah.
And we think we're gonna get another 4 or 5. So, you know.
Hey, Phil, do you also plan on having at the major entrances, Nassau Bay Drive, Point Lookout, Upper?
That's exactly where.
But putting a sign that says this neighborhood patrolled by or videoed by Flock?
That was what was supposed to be, yes.
Is that still part of the plan?
Correct, that's the plan.
Yeah, because that'll be a deterrent. Somebody
No
will look
question.
in there and
They
say, uh-oh,
call it, well,
let's go to El Lago.
I had a safety training course one time when I was with Exxon. The guy talked about when you put your sign for your homes, you know, your own home security says monitored by blah blah blah. He said that's his good neighbor policy, is that people don't want to go there, so you go and send the people to you. So we have that. We'll send it to our neighboring cities, you know.
So what's the purpose of those cameras?
So they will notify the police that if somebody has a warrant for their arrest, that they have entered into our city.
So this is all automatic recognition?
It is. License
License
plates.
plate readers.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And it also does recording. So if somebody, like if you see somebody, and I'll just make it, you know, ratchet up the emotion on it. You see somebody driving down there with speeding that hit a kid. right? And they speed off and you didn't get their license plate, you'd still be able to have the make and model of the car. And the make and model of the car, they can get the license plate from these and they'd be able to go apprehend the guy. Things like that. So, and if there's people who are, have a criminal record with a warrant out or anything along that line that are in our city, our police will know that they're in there. So,
I'm still interested in seeing that we do something about, I don't know if we issue warnings or what, but people need license plates on the back and the front of the car.
that's the other thing.
Texas law.
Yeah.
It's a Texas law.
We've actually raised that in our city for our police force that helps with a flock system too. Even though we're gearing it to be from the back, it's obviously helpful to have both.
Absolutely, and I noticed that other communities are advertising, like he said, little signs, but they are advertising in newsletters that they have installed block cameras. So they're putting it out there that they're protected.
Yeah.
The community is protected. I don't think it would hurt to do the same thing here.
Yeah,
I don't know what
I
you're
completely
doing.
agree. I completely agree. I mean, if we want to have, I mean, I'll even say it this way: is I think if we had known this, it would have been helpful for Kayla Sullivan if we had really known that this person was the type of person that we were dealing with. It just arms our police officers with what the alligator they're wrestling with, which is what I like to say. And it's information. It protects them. It makes them safe. And if you put out a sign and things like that, people will know. And if you've got a warrant, they're going to stay away from our city. So
As long as the sign's big enough, actually.
yeah.
Well, good job on that, Phil.
So
Hey, Paul, any timing update on the removal of the monument?
Actually, I emailed him last week and he said he'd get with me. So he says it's on his schedule, but I'm trying to confirm a good date.
yeah, and I'll throw a little bit of a block here. This is the construction company that the family who had their son pass away at Lutheran South, who was a football player. I don't know if people knew that. They've been geared up during the period of time here, and I actually called him, and he's actually a resident here in Nassau Bay. And he said just they've been so consumed with stuff that they've gotten behind on a lot of stuff. But he said it would be. He didn't realize that they were the bottleneck here, and I think he's made calls, and now the guy's being responsible.
Yeah, and they've been issued a PO and everything, so they're ready to go.
14-year-old.
14-year-old son.
Nothing else matters.
It really does not.
Everything else just sinks.
He was a twin, the whole thing. I
Heartbreaking.
mean, it was, yeah, it was.
Devastating.
Then right in front of the holidays, so I have to believe the last 2 months have been hell for them. So, heart goes out to the Lee family. It's the Cody and Natasha. So, yep.
What are they gonna do with the monument?
I think they're going to take it down,
Yeah,
demolish it. It's not going to be taken in
Are
whole.
they gonna sell it at auction or something?
So I actually finally believe we got a quote where people put in the credits for the aluminum, right? They're going to scrap it, right? So it is.
Only thing we're getting is the lights. Tom George, he thinks that he could really do something with the lights at the fire department and make it look really nice. So we are going to get the lights out of it, and that's something we already discussed with the contractor. He said no problem. So
And that big electrical box across the street.
we're removing that. We've already submitted a disconnect, and then as soon as they pull that meter, kill that power, we're yanking that also.
Yeah. I mean, we've been told by TxDOT and by NASA that we had to shut it down in the base case because it was considered a traffic danger because we couldn't control the lighting at all on it, and it was strobing, it was doing things. So they said we had to shut it down. So it's been shut down for 2 years, year and a half. And the expense to fix it is now double what it is. So
There was no way to go back to the original contractor on something?
My understanding is the original contractor is bankrupt. The selection was an obscure group that is no longer in business. This was one of their first actual ventures that they did, from my understanding. How can we? Yeah.
Oh, you heard that.
Yeah.
How are we coming along with the houses that are being raised? Can you buy?
So the ones I know is that they're the last tranche of the most recent one are actively going through. They're right now. I don't believe we've gotten the funds from for that tranche, but there's nothing to say that we won't. The belief is that when you come probably the June, July, August timeframe is when they're going to start seeing the next 19. I think they're 19. And then I know that this other one, I didn't get the final count, the one for 2023. I'm talking 2022. 2023, I think was 12, but I haven't gotten that. I haven't gotten the full number. But yeah, so that up until including those 19 will be 89, and with another 12 would be 101. Yeah. So it's done like that, and I believe that's it's just tremendously helping out with home values in Nassau Bay, because now people, when you look at the amount of damage that would be done for all those, that's 100 homes that are out of danger. So it matters. It matters a lot. So
It's almost 10%. It's almost 1 out of 10.
I know, almost 1 out of 10. It's good. I didn't even think of it that way, Pete. It's because there's 1,000 homes or 900 and some homes. One out of 10.
Hey, Bill, I've got good news too. It's not home elevations, new construction on Nassau Bay Drive. The big home is back in business.
That's what I've
And I
heard.
let the HOA know as well. They started reworking on that home heavy. And of course, their timing, as soon as they start working again, we get all this heavy rain. But they're back,
Yeah.
look like full steam ahead
Good.
on moving forward finally.
I've same thing with I hear with 18410. There's more activity going on there, and I've actually got an email that said they're planning occupancy in 2-3 months. So we'll see. We'll see. Just I'm passing along the information to the homeowners. Watch.
He has eyes on the new construction.
Yeah.
Because he can walk out his front yard and look down there and see it.
Actually, I can look out my dining room window and I can see
Yeah.
Yeah.
because Nassau Bay
But
has a little.
there's definitely work going on there. So
Did the
that's
city do anything regarding that, or did they just drop it?
Yeah, actually, we did, and I was trying to, we reached out, Cecily and Building reached out, and they actually gave her a list of things that they will be completing in the next month. And I was trying to find it, but it's a lot. Gonna shock me if
Yeah.
they get it all done, but it's,
Yeah.
they said that they're committed to getting back there and doing that.
the other thing too is, some of these things are learnings, like a Harvey or an Ike. Our laws are such that we create penalties for people, or we take their permit away if they don't do work. But we don't have anything to have penalties if they don't do work. It's the it's for something can stay that way and the city has no authority. We've got Greg looking into this, is to say, can we set a time frame where once you do a permit that you're supposed to have your work done, and that once you have to have a completion scenario.
Right.
That's not an easy task, believe it or not. Property laws are property laws.
So in the next 4 weeks, they claim to have the following completed: enclose a porta potty, install exterior finishes on the wall, install the front door, install garage doors, install pavers on the driveway, remove construction fence, mow the lawn, and arrange the landscaping within the next 4 weeks.
That's for the Nassau Bay House.
Yes, sir. Yep. Mhm.
Got it. In addition, the HOA had done a good job, and the HOA had the HOA attorney had gone after the owner, whose name is Ghosh, and put pressure on him. He got attorney and it got a little nasty. That was all that was shared with the public of the HOA. And they said that's all they could say. But that helped, and then the city helping, kind of burning the candle at both ends, showing Bill a little tip of the sword.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey, it works. I mean, if you put pressure, and people are generally good. You just when people meander a little bit, you gotta bring it back.
Actually, as far as time limits are concerned on these projects and what's included, most people make sure when they have a contract with someone that there is a time limit.
You a contract I've done, I've always made sure, because I'm worried about my contractor not finishing the job.
That house is a spec house. Down there.
Yeah.
Some builder just started doing it. There's no end in sight. I mean, he's got a construction loan on it. He's got to eat his life.
Must be some. I mean, you know, unless you're financially independent,
He's
but
financing it himself.
one of the things that we're finding, and I mean this is not just these problems, but there are some homes that have been lifted that aren't finishing their bottoms of their house, and a lot of that's done on FEMA money rather than on personal money. And you know, the contract's very clear is that you're supposed to complete your house after a period of time with FEMA, and some people aren't doing that. So we've had to get involved there too, homeowners too.
A lot of pushback.
A lot of pushback.
FEMA actually has set a time limit to complete.
Yeah, it's part of the contract, is what I understand.
It has a 1 year paddle.
I thought it was two.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll find. I'll name it.
But I think
So I
it's 1
actually don't, in my contract with FEMA, with Jeff Ward, I don't remember FEMA having any timeline. It was the permit that we get from the city has a 1 year shelf life.
Yeah, but I actually thought there were things that you commit to do, like doing the exterior, you know, around the.
That's with the HOA that
Do they
demands
Do they
that
have to
to wrap
submit
around.
full architectural rendering?
They do. You do. You sure do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But with the HOA, that's where you have to wrap your steps, et cetera.
Do you have it?
Yeah, the permit's already issued last.
Yeah, sure. I mean, she left, but one of the things that I give credit is, and it's again, like I said, when you complain or things here, we're going to work the issues. It's down by, I guess it's the the ones with the fire, the
401 Lakeside, the townhomes.
It's not the Bay House, it's the Bay Towers.
Bayfront Towers.
Bayfront Towers. There's been a number of those that have not had the permits released, and that got done this past Tuesday. So everything's moving forward, and she came in to compliment, because it was this time 2 weeks ago that she raised it. So I'm saying I appreciate you coming in. I really do. And a lot of people are nervous to do so, and I would actually tell everybody, please, we will take care of you. So. All right. So, well, that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be that way. So, okay. The only other thing, a couple of things for people on the last council meeting, even though we went over this a little bit before, we did a lot of work. Let me even back up a little bit. Paula knows this we've had a lot of evolution and how should I say, changes to a number of our committees, that the rules were not standard for all the committees. And, as things then, came forward with things that were requirements, things like open meetings, things like minutes, things like that, it created some angst on some of the committees. So we went forward and said we want to make sure everything's done uniformly between all the committees. And we've actually, and it'll be coming up in this next city council meeting, we're actually setting up I'm just going to call it a protocol ordinance that governs all committees, so that if we ever want to change something for one, it changes it for all. We don't have different things for different people, because I think people participate in different things, and when they have to do something different than somebody else, it became, some emotion came out of that, and I'm hoping this takes care of that. And that's for every single one, except for our chartered committee. We try to pattern it off the chartered committees, which was the planning commission and the board of adjustment. So that's all coming forward. We also established a animal shelter compliance advisory committee. That's a state mandated committee, so that if you have an animal shelter, you have to have a 5-member board just overlooking it. That's again mandatory for that. So that's being created. The big thing that I like to say is that we successfully performed getting the certificate of obligations. I believe it's about $3.8 million. And because you've heard me tout about our financial stability and our financial wherewithal, we are in the best financial situation that we've ever been. We got this at a 2.66 interest rate for $3.8 million, even in today's environment. We had people, just wanting to participate in our debt, and that's what's going in. It's the thing I like to say, again, stepping back, is I've really wanted to reinvest in our infrastructure. And between last year, this year, and next year, and with this certificate, it really seeds, we'll complete it. We'll have invested $20 million back into this city on streets, on water distribution, sanitary distribution, on just everything that, is part of the things we take for granted. And I personally believe you can already see that some of the beauty of our city's coming through. We've done it in the beautification and stuff like that. And you've got about, half left of what we need to do on the water distribution, which this will take care of that. We'll hopefully get out of the geysers that go off every summer. But in any event, this is a key part of it, and it's done. It also, since we've recapitalized and restructured, but it allowed us to put in a PO for a volunteer fireman's truck. It'll be city owned, but it will be volunteer fireman operated. It is a ladder truck. So that this is one of the two things that really came up in the audit that is being fixed now. And then the other things just along that line, I even have here we're going to re-up a partnership with Space Center Houston. So that will be part of the Flight Education Foundation. And again, we're doing some things with the lighting that's going to take place all around City Hall. So pretty productive, meeting.
This is a hot button.
Uh-oh.
People's landscaping in their front yards, where they leave dead trees in there for a couple of years.
That do what? Say that again.
People's landscaping where they've got dead trees in the front yard, and I mean, if you ride around in the neighborhood and you look at people's yards, you just cringe.
Yeah. So
I don't know what we can do to put.
if it's a safety one, this is not the first time this has come up, and my understanding is my authority goes up to where if it's a safety issue, right? So we've taken down some trees that posed, real concern relative to some neighbor's property or things along that line. We've done that. I would like to see if, because I think tree trimming, tree maintenance, the whole aesthetic look that, we have a right of way that I think goes in 10 feet, 15 feet, that for all major trees are on there, obviously working with the things. And again, this is not something that's ready to go now. You got to really think this through, because there's issues for a homeowner too. But we should be doing a whole lot more to keep branches from going out in the street. I mean, I really hate seeing the Amazon 90-degree where they go through and their trucks do the tree trimming. Yeah. And I just think it looks sculptured, and the city has right away. Like if you look at between Point Lookout and I think it's Martinique, leading into the Nassau Bay Pond, there's a spillway, and we have a right of way that allows us to keep that all clean and all nice and everything like that. I think we should have the same thing with our easements up to 10 feet, which would allow us to say anything along there, we want it manicured, we want it looking nice to a standard that we all agree to, and then have the city just make sure that they run through and keep it up.
How
So-
about people's yards, just the appearance of their front
Yeah.
yard?
See, homeowners actually has more of a say than we do on that. So I know there's been a lot of, I've known a couple of yards that
Pitiful.
egregious. So let's just say that, yeah. And
During
they're,
the drought,
they're-
there wasn't a lot of watering going on someplace.
yeah, but even still, I'm not even saying those cases. I'm
No.
saying the situation that people just don't take care of their yards. I'll say it that way, and what's our recourse? And other than high grass and stuff like that, we don't have much.
Don't have any.
So the
HOA,
city
right?
does high grass, the HOA does the landscaping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
So Margaret, that's HOA.
the area that I'm focused on is trees though, because we have a number of trees that are dead that should be taken down.
Hey, Bill, how about, we talk about street sweeper. What would it take, Paul, to get a new street sweeper, since the city has some money now? Or a used street sweeper that we could have just for Nassau Bay, and we can run it when we want on our timeline?
So, new street sweeper runs about 150 to 175,000. For me to get this street sweep, it's about $2,000 a pop. So we'll be doing that 4 times a year. So $8,000 a year. But it's maintenance. If you know anybody with a street sweeper in any city, it's a maintenance nightmare with the brushes and all. It's just really tough.
Right now, I mean, the street sweeper we had here was not doing well, so he's found another one, or he found another machine.
Another machine, yes, sir.
'Cause I even want to have it clean the actual curbs themselves. I really don't like seeing the black mold and all that comes off with a power wash. I mean, you saw what we did when we cleaned the wall that goes from Swan Lagoon to Bal Harbor, how nice that looked after we just got all the mold off. Our streets are the same way, or I should say our curbs are the same way, and it should be.
Isn't that supposed to be the owner's supposed to keep it up?
Yeah, but all I know is I don't see people doing that, and we have to. Let me even say it differently, Barbara. I believe that sweeping the streets keeps debris and that out of the sewers. And if I'm already out there doing that, let's get the wet one with the things here, and we'll make it clean as a whistle. And that, at least that's. I think it costs less for us to have for that to do it than it would be the other way around for other people.
Is that gonna take off any of the
Should not.
street numbers that
Should not.
Chase has been?
Should not.
Hey, Paul, I have a request. So it used to be that the city did a great job after we had a rain and these storm sewers got leaves and debris plugging them up. The city came by and cleaned them up. And that has not happened in like a year. How I know that is because I go out and have to clean that, but I never used to have to do that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Have we stopped that or what's?
No, it's supposed to be happening, but probably just probably needs to be revisited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put that back on the
Yeah.
radar.
It works. Anything?
Excuse me, Nassau Bay Yacht Club, there's a drainage comes off the city streets, goes down by the back of the yacht club and dumps into Calvio. Well, there's cracks all along there, so that water is getting out of there into the marina.
So it's.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it.
And then it starts flooding the marina.
Okay.
It helps with flooding the marina.
But that's all.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it.
Phil, when you talked about the city having a 10-foot easement and maintaining those areas, even if
I
it's.
was thinking
not-
trees, limiting it
Just
to
the
trees.
okay, so not the grass.
Not the grass, well, we can do high grass all the way even past
I'm
10
not-
feet, but yeah, correct.
I'm not really thinking about in people's
No,
yards,
I was
but in other
only
areas.
thinking trees.
Okay.
And it's mostly for, if we have to get
Thank you
in
for
for
that
water,
clarification.
water and sewer line repairs, we have that easement we can work in. That's mostly what it is for.
And I-
I'm curious mostly around Upper Bay Road, the properties that the
Yeah.
homeowners own that extend out at the ends of the canal.
I'm really excited about the trees because that are going in up on Upper Bay and some over on the, our Nassau Bay Drive, because those have been long-standing trees that have been missing for a long time. And I'm glad to get it back up.
That would be nice to see.
Yeah.
Because that's a real popular drive along the lake.
Oh,
No
yeah,
question.
yeah.
No question. You can see them. I mean, we've got medians of grass that are like 3 feet wide with, you can see 2 holes, Any other comments? Any other questions? Anything else?
No, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks.